The desperate call ambassador Giral watched the emergency council session unfold with a sick feeling in his four-chambered heart. The grand chamber of the Celestial Commonwealth had never felt so small. 19 species represented, each more terrified than the last. First speaker Catan, a towering figure of the Alori race with gleaming silver skin, raised a slender arm for silence. The murmurs died instantly. Everyone knew what was coming. The Shuran system has fallen, Catan announced, voice resonating through the chamber. Our most advanced defensive fleet was destroyed in 17 minutes. All colonists are presumed lost. Screens around the chamber showed the same horrific imagery. Massive obsidian structures, almost organic in appearance, methodically consuming everything in their path. The Devourers had first appeared at the edge of Commonwealth space, 8 standard months ago. Since then, they had consumed 7 star systems. We have deployed every technological innovation, every strategic maneuver our brightest minds could conceive, continued Catan. Nothing stops them. At their current rate of advance, they will reach our core worlds within 6 standard months. Silence filled the chamber. The Commonwealth had spent millennia perfecting peace, art, and cooperative technology. Their ships were marvels of efficiency and beauty, designed for exploration and knowledge gathering. They were completely unprepared for an enemy that couldn't be reasoned with, an enemy that only consumed. Giral stepped forward, his blue-scaled skin paling to a light azure with stress. As head of the Xena Relations Council, he had spent centuries studying fringe species and potential allies. First speaker, honored representatives, he began, his voice barely steady. There may be one option we haven't considered. The chamber turned toward him. Hope was a dangerous commodity these days. I speak of the quarantined world in Sector 7, the species known as humans. The reaction was immediate. Several representatives shot to their feet in protest. Minister Velek of the Garish actually emitted a stress odor so potent that the air filtration systems activated. Deathworlders, hissed Velek. You would invite predators into our homes? Catan raised his hand again. Explain your reasoning, Ambassador Giral. Giral activated his datapad. The screens around the chamber changed to show a blue-green world with swirling white clouds. Earth, gravity 1.3 times our standard. Atmospheric pressure 1.2 times standard. Temperature ranges from freezing to scorching across different regions. Classified as a death world, not primarily for its environment, but for what evolved there. The image shifted to bipedal beings. 2 arms, 2 legs, no protective exoskeleton, no natural weaponry visible. They appear unimpressive, Giral continued. But these humans evolved on a planet teeming with predators. Their bodies can withstand radiation levels that would kill most of us. They can lose significant amounts of blood and survive. They can break bones and continue fighting. They heal at rates our medical experts initially believed impossible. He paused, letting the information sink in. But their physical resilience is secondary. It's their minds that truly earned them the Death World classification. Humans think, like predators, always searching for weakness, always planning their next move. Their history is filled with warfare against their own kind. They've nearly destroyed themselves multiple times, yet always survived. And you want to invite these monsters into Commonwealth space? Minister Velek demanded. I want to point these predators toward the Devourers, Giral replied. Our records indicate humans can be reasoned with. They form deep social bonds, protect their young and their communities. They value cooperation when it serves mutual survival. First speaker Catan looked troubled. Our ancestors encountered humans 240 cycles ago. They deemed them too dangerous and established the quarantine zone. No Commonwealth vessel has approached Earth since. Have they advanced? Asked another representative. Giral displayed new images. Human, ships traveling between planets in their home system. Small colonies on their moon and neighboring planets. They've developed faster than light travel within the past 30 cycles. Their technology is less advanced than ours in most areas, but their weapons... He paused. They excel at creating weapons. The chamber erupted in debate. Some representatives argued that contacting humans would doom them all. Others countered that the Devourers had already doomed them, so there was nothing to lose. Catan allowed the argument to continue for several minutes before calling for order. "We will vote," he announced, "but consider this. If the Devourers consume our worlds and our knowledge, what will stop them from finding Earth next? The humans may be dangerous, but at least they might listen to reason. The Devourers consume without thought." The vote was close, but the decision was made. The Commonwealth would break their oldest law. They would contact the quarantined Deathworlders. Cyril spent days crafting the message with his team. They made it simple and direct, including star maps showing Devourer movements and data about their ships. They offered trade, technology, and friendship in exchange for help. When the message was complete, Cyril stood in the transmission chamber. The signal would take only hours to reach Earth thanks to the Commonwealth's advanced communication technology. "Send it," he ordered. As the message raced toward the Death World, Cyril felt both hope and fear. The humans might ignore them. The humans might use this opportunity to conquer the weakened Commonwealth. Or the humans might do what Deathworlders do best: fight and kill to protect territory. For the first time since the Devourers appeared, Cyril allowed himself to feel a small spark of hope. Perhaps the very quality that made humans dangerous, their predator nature, would be what saved the galaxy. At United Earth Defense Force headquarters, Captain Maya Chen stared at the large holographic display where an alien message played. Strange symbols flowed across the screen with computer translations appearing below. "Play it again," she ordered. The alien face appeared, scaled blue skin with large silver eyes that blinked in a pattern suggesting distress. "To the leaders of Earth," the translation read, "we are the Celestial Commonwealth, a peaceful union of 19 species. We face extinction by an enemy called the Devourers. We offer friendship, trade, and technology in exchange for your assistance. Please respond." The message included star maps, images of the enemy ships, and battle recordings showing the Devourers destroying Commonwealth defenses. "What do we know about this Commonwealth?" Maya asked. Dr. Elias Okoro, head of xenobiology, stepped forward. "Nothing until today. We've explored 15 nearby star systems without encountering intelligent life. Yet they clearly know about us." "They've been watching us," said General William Harris. The old soldier's face was grim. "Keeping us contained." "Yes," Dr. Okoro agreed. "The message references us living on a high-gravity world with extreme weather and, interestingly, predator evolution. I believe they fear us. Afraid of us." Maya raised an eyebrow. "Their ships in the battle footage have technology far beyond ours." "Technology isn't everything, Captain," replied Dr. Okoro. "Look at the Commonwealth ships. Beautiful, efficient, but their weapons seem designed for precision, not power. When hit, they break apart easily. I don't think they evolved as fighters." The meeting continued for hours as Earth's leaders joined by secure channel. Scientists analyzed the alien data. Military experts studied the battle footage of the Devourers. 2. Facts became clear. First, the Commonwealth was losing badly. Second, the Devourers' path of destruction was moving in a direction that would eventually reach human space. 3 days after receiving the message, Earth sent its reply. "We accept your request for help. Prepare to receive our representatives." 1 week later, the human diplomatic vessel Pathfinder appeared at the edge of Commonwealth space. It was escorted by 2 military ships, the Valiant and the Relentless. All 3 vessels were sleek and functional, with visible weapon systems and heavy armor plating. Ambassador Ziral watched the human ships approach on tracking screens at Commonwealth Central. They were smaller than Commonwealth vessels, but somehow looked more dangerous, more purposeful. "They came," First Speaker Catan said quietly, standing beside him. "I was not certain they would." 3 ships cannot stop the Devourers," Minister Velik muttered. "These are not their war fleet," Cyril replied. "The message said these are representatives coming to assess the threat." The human delegation walked into the grand chamber with a confidence that made some Commonwealth representatives step back nervously. The lead human stepped forward. a female with dark skin and short black hair. "I am Maya Chen, diplomatic envoy of Earth. This is General William Harris, commander of our defense forces, and Dr. Elias Okoro, our chief xenobiologist." Siral moved forward to greet them. "I am Siral, voice of the Commonwealth Xeno-Relations. Council, this is First Speaker Catan and Minister Velek. We thank you for coming." The humans did not bow or show submission gestures like most species did when meeting new aliens. They stood straight and made direct eye contact, which many Commonwealth representatives found unsettling. "We have reviewed your message and the data you sent," Maya said. "We need to know everything about these devourers if we're to help you." The meeting moved to a large briefing room with display screens. The Commonwealth shared everything they knew about the devourers, their ships, their tactics, the worlds they had destroyed. General Harris asked questions that revealed a deep understanding of warfare, questions the peace-loving Commonwealth had never considered. Have you tried targeting their propulsion system specifically? Do they communicate with each other? Have you attempted to jam their signals? What's the minimum safe distance your ships can maintain while still engaging their weapons effectively? After hours of questions, Maya turned to Siral. "You don't seem prepared for this kind of conflict." Siral's skin paled slightly. "The Commonwealth has known peace for 900 cycles. We build ships for exploration and transportation, not war." Maya nodded. "Then we'll need to adapt our strategies. General Harris will return to our ships to send a message to Earth. We need more vessels with specialized combat capabilities." That evening, Maya met with Siral privately. "My government has made a decision," she said. "We will help you fight the devourers." Relief washed through Siral's body, turning his skin from pale azure back to deep blue. "Thank you. What forces can Earth provide?" "General Harris is requesting a fleet of 40 ships with specialized combat teams," Maya replied. Siral's relief faded. "Only 40? The devourers have thousands of vessels." Maya smiled, and for the first time Siral understood why some species evolved to fear the showing of teeth. "It's not about the number of ships, Ambassador," she said. "It's about how you use them. The devourers have never faced Deathworlders before. They're about to learn why that classification exists." Predators. Unleashed. 3 weeks later, the human fleet arrived. 40 ships emerged simultaneously at the edge of Commonwealth space, appearing from faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. Commonwealth observers gasped at the sight on their screens. Where Commonwealth vessels were elegant, with smooth curved lines, human ships were angular and utilitarian. Where Commonwealth ships displayed beautiful colors, human vessels were dark gray with only small markings to identify them. Most striking were the weapon systems clearly visible on every surface of the human ships. The largest vessel, named Thermopylae, moved toward the Commonwealth station. Its commander, Admiral Sanjay Desai, requested permission to dock. Ambassador Siral, First Speaker Catan, and General Harris waited as the human admiral entered the station. Admiral Desai was tall with sharp features and alert eyes that seemed to notice everything. He moved with controlled precision that reminded Siral of a hunting predator. "Ambassador Siral, First Speaker Catan," he said with a small bow. "Thank you for hosting our fleet. We're ready to begin operations against the devourers immediately." Minister Velek, who had joined them, could not hide his surprise. "So quickly? Don't you need time to prepare?" Admiral Desai smiled. "We prepared during the journey here. General Harris sent all your data ahead. My crew has studied devourer tactics and developed our response. We're ready." The human fleet didn't wait for further discussion. Half the ships remained to protect the Commonwealth central worlds, while Admiral Desai led the other half toward the Pronaxis system, where the devourers had established a forward base. The Commonwealth sent an observation vessel to watch and report back. Aboard this ship was Rylith, a young Commonwealth scientist who had volunteered for the dangerous mission. Her job was to record everything the humans did. As they traveled, Rylith observed the human crews through shared video feeds. They were constantly active, running simulations, checking equipment, studying maps of the target system. Most surprising was how they prepared for combat. The human soldiers put on armor that seemed impossibly heavy. They carried weapons that looked too large for their frames, yet they moved easily, as if the weight was nothing. Some even laughed and joked as they prepared for battle. "Aren't they afraid?" Rylith asked Commander Eve Rodriguez, who led the human ground forces. Eve looked surprised at the question. "Of course we're afraid. Fear keeps you sharp. But we've trained for this. Besides, humans have always been good at fighting things bigger than ourselves." When they reached the edge of the Pronaxis system, the human ships went dark. They turned off all non-essential systems and drifted forward using minimal power. Admiral Desai's voice came over the secure channel. "All ships maintain radio silence. We approach unseen, launch scouts." Tiny ships, barely large enough for one person, detached from the larger vessels and moved ahead. These scout ships used passive sensors only, gathering detailed scans of the Devourer positions. 6 hours later, the scouts returned. The Devourers had placed harvester ships on the third planet, stripping it of resources and processing them into new Devourer vessels. In orbit, hundreds of Devourer ships moved in regular patterns, protecting the operation. Rylith watched as Admiral Desai called his officers together. "The Devourer ships move too perfectly together," he said, pointing to the scan data. "That suggests centralized control. We need to find it and destroy it. Then we hit the harvester ships on the surface." Commander Rodriguez nodded. "My team is ready for ground assault." Another officer spoke up. "The Devourer ships in orbit will detect any approach to the planet." "Not if they're distracted," Desai replied with a smile. "And not if we use the planet's radiation belt to hide our drop ships." The human plan was audacious. It had 3 parts. First, a small group of human ships would attack the edge of the Devourer fleet, drawing attention and forcing many Devourer ships to respond. Second, while the Devourers were distracted, dropships carrying Commander Rodriguez's ground forces would use the planet's radiation belt to mask their approach and land near the harvester sites. Third, once on the ground, Rodriguez's team would locate and destroy the central control node they believed was directing all Devourer activity in the system. Rylith was shocked by the plan. "You're sending people down to the planet's surface? The radiation levels are dangerous and the Devourer harvesters will detect any landing." Admiral Desai looked at the Commonwealth observer calmly. "The radiation won't harm our soldiers for the time they'll be exposed. Their suits can handle it. As for being detected, that's why we're sending in small, fast ships. Speed and surprise are our advantages." The attack began. 5 human ships moved forward, firing powerful weapons at the outer edge of the Devourer fleet. The Devourers responded immediately, sending dozens of ships to attack the humans. The human vessels didn't try to stand and fight. They fired, moved, fired again, always staying just out of reach of the Devourer's weapons. They led the Devourer ships away from the planet in a deadly dance. Meanwhile, 20 small dropships launched from the main human fleet. They didn't use standard engines, but instead fired brief bursts from positioning jets, making them harder to detect. They curved around the planet's dark side and dove into the radiation belt. Aboard one of these dropships, Commander Rodriguez checked her team's equipment one last time. 20 soldiers sat ready, weapons secured. The ship shook violently as it entered the planet's atmosphere. 30 seconds to landing, the pilot called out. "Devourer defenses have not engaged us. They don't see us yet." The dropships touched down 3 kilometers from the nearest Devourer harvester. The human soldiers moved out quickly, spreading into the alien terrain. They wore heavy armor with full face shields. Each carried a primary weapon and several smaller ones. Rylith watched through camera feeds from the soldiers' helmets. She was amazed at how fast they moved through the difficult terrain. The planet's gravity was higher than Earth's, and the air had less oxygen, yet the humans seemed barely affected. Using handheld scanners, the soldiers located unusual energy readings coming from a structure near the largest harvester. Commander Rodriguez split her forces. Half would attack the harvester as a distraction, while her team would find the source of the energy readings. Rodriguez's team reached the structure and discovered a complex of tunnels filled with strange technology, part mechanical, part biological. At the center was a pulsing mass of tissue connected to hundreds of cable-like tendrils. "That's it," Rodriguez said quietly. "The control node. Plant the charges." Her soldiers placed explosive devices around the central mass. They set the timers for 5 minutes and began to withdraw. Outside, the other team launched their attack on the Devourer harvester. Their weapons tore through the outer defenses. Alarm signals spread through the Devourer network. In space, Admiral Desai watched as the Devourer ships suddenly changed their attack pattern. "They know we're on the planet," he said. "All ships move in now. Support our ground forces." The human fleet surged forward, weapons firing at full power. They targeted specific points on the Devourer ships, connection nodes that the Commonwealth had never noticed before. On the planet, Commander Rodriguez's team reached their extraction point just as the explosives detonated. The ground shook with the force of the blast. Above, in orbit, the effect was immediate. The Devourer ships stopped their coordinated movements. Some drifted aimlessly. Others began firing randomly, sometimes hitting other Devourer vessels. "The control node is down," Rodriguez reported as her dropship lifted off. "The Devourer ships are confused. They can't coordinate their actions." Admiral Desai nodded. "All ships target and destroy the disorganized Devourer vessels. Priority on the larger ships first." The battle that followed was short but intense. The human ships moved with purpose, picking off Devourer vessels one by one. Without central coordination, the Devourers couldn't mount an effective defense. 3 hours after the attack began, the Pronaxis system was clear of Devourer presence. The human fleet had lost 2 ships and 7 soldiers. They had destroyed over 200 Devourer vessels. On the observation ship, Rylith stared at the battle reports in disbelief. The Commonwealth had been fighting the Devourers for months with little success. The humans had defeated them in hours. "How?" she asked Admiral Desai when his ship docked with the observation vessel. "How did you know about the control node?" Desai smiled. "We noticed patterns in the Devourer movements, too perfect for individual ships. We thought like predators. Find the head, cut it off, and the body dies." As the fleet prepared to move to the next system, Rylith realized something important. The Deathworlders weren't just physically strong or technically capable. They thought differently. They saw weaknesses where the Commonwealth saw only threats. They turned disadvantages into advantages. For the first time, Rylith understood why humans were called Deathworlders. And for the first time, she believed the Devourers could be defeated. News of the human victory at Pronaxis spread quickly through the Commonwealth. For the first time in months, there was hope. The Deathworlders had proven their worth. But the war was far from over. Admiral Desai stood in the command center on the Commonwealth station, studying reports from scout ships. "The Devourers are changing," he said to Ambassador Zeral. "They're learning from their defeat." New images showed Devourer ships gathering, in different formations. The regular patterns they had used before were gone. Now they moved in smaller, independent groups. Some Devourer ships had changed their design, adding more armor to the weak points that human weapons had targeted. "This is what we expected," Admiral Desai said. "The Devourers adapt. Now we must adapt faster." First Speaker Catan looked troubled. "You sound almost pleased that they are becoming more dangerous." Desai smiled slightly. "Static enemies are boring, First Speaker. This forces us to evolve our approach. Humans do our best work when challenged." 2 months later, the combined human and Commonwealth forces had pushed the Devourers back across 8 star systems, but the cost was growing with each victory. The Devourers adapted quickly after each defeat, developing new defenses against human weapons and tactics. Intelligence revealed that the Devourers were retreating toward a massive space station orbiting a dying star, their apparent point of origin where new Devourer units were created and programmed. Admiral Desai proposed a daring plan, a direct assault on the Devourer homeworld. It would require every ship they had and would likely result in heavy casualties. But if successful, it could end the war. As the human and Commonwealth fleets prepared for the final battle, Rylith completed her report for the Council. "The humans are unlike any species we have encountered," she wrote. They do not fear challenge. They embrace it. They do not flee from danger, they move toward it. Most importantly, they understand the devourers in a way we never could, because humans themselves evolved through conflict and survival. Ambassador Ziral read her report with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The Commonwealth had been right to fear the Deathworlders, but they had been right to call them too. As the combined fleet moved out toward the final confrontation, Ziral watched the human ships take the lead position. Their gray hulls were scarred from previous battles, but they moved with purpose and determination. The Deathworlders were going hunting, and the galaxy would never be the same.